What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the PS5 career mode. This is episode number 63. And we start today's episode off as we officially end Season 5, probably our most, no, not probably, was definitely our most dramatic season of the save. On the back of the Europa League semi-final knockout to Lyon, the FA Cup final defeat to Brighton, the shock defeat to Brighton I should say, but still the Premier League title win, capping off what was still a very successful 5th year at the Crown Prince Foundation Stadium. We end with our final bit of scouting for the year and also an academy update as well. You can see our players in the youth team right now as we officially close our 5th season knowing we should have won the domestic double. Yes, totally choked in the FA Cup final, and hopefully we'll get our revenge next season. So as Season 5 ends, Season 6 begins, and as we start off the new year at the Crown Prince Foundation Stadium on the 1st of July, returning from pre-season training, the question we always ask is, how much money have we got? Well, we've got £104.4 million. So yes, just like last season, the board are now starting to give us a lot more money to work with in the summer, and why wouldn't they? We've grown the club off the pitch commercially, as a brand, most importantly in stature, and also what we're doing on the pitch as well. Now we are officially a European standard club, and as we know, this season will be in the Champions League, where the board have asked this season, can you believe these objectives? I try to stay calm there. Win a domestic double, you know, make amends after last season's choke against Brighton in the final, but reach the final of the Champions League. The board have given me free reign from here on out as well, you know, due to the fact we've risen QPR as a club, you know, in terms of stature, worldwide reputation, and also, again, how we've performed on the pitch as well. Now, being, again, a European standard side, 5-star team, one of the best in England, and again, this season playing our first year in the Champions League, the board have given me some trust and repaid their faith in me by giving me free reign for the season. I can do whatever I want with the transfer policy, the youth setup, on the pitch objectives, so on and so forth. But reach the final of the Champions League. We couldn't even reach the final of the Europa League last season. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too confident about doing that. Listen, win the domestic double. Yeah, I mean, okay, look, I'll just be honest here. I've already said it this episode, and I'll say it again. I choked, alright? I choked, I bottled it. You saw it in the last episode. I totally choked, and I'm not going to try and deny it or sweep it under the rug. It was my terrible, terrible lack of composure on those spot kicks that blew it for us. But, you know, retain the Premier League, that'll be hard. We were pushed all the way by Man City last season, right to the final day. Liverpool themselves as well were in it until like match day 35 too. So, you know, it's going to be incredibly hard to retain the Premier League title, but I think we've got the team to do it, because we did it last season, and our team is only going to get better this season as well. But, you know, Europe, again, you know, a couple of years ago, first taste of European football in the Europa League, you know, knocked out in the round of 16. Last season, knocked out in the semis. You know, this is our first year in the Champions League. You want me to get to the final? I mean, listen, we've got the team to, you know, fight for that, but I'm not entirely sure we'll be able to do it. Still, I ran you through the squad there in the squad hub and the team management screen as well. As you can see, we have got a ton of players with just 1 year left on their deal, but most of those players are, of course, youth academy graduates, many of which show no potential whatsoever. I did give some pro deals to noteworthy players, though. Captain Big Andy Rinomota signs a new 4-year extension, 60 grand a week, certainly deserves it. Now, 90 rated Andy Rinomota, absolutely incredible. We also saw Paulo Gazzaniga sign a 1-year extension as well. He'll be working on penalty saving and training this season, I'm sure. Bassi, a youth prospect, signed a new 4-year deal. We also gave a new contract to Big Josh as well, and also Sang Han Young, I think it is, the Korean winger who shows great potential. And of course, can you believe this? Come on, the boys, the cycling GK isn't going to retire come the end of the season. I couldn't believe it. I said it last season, I said the season before. This will probably be Foster's final year playing professional football, and much to my pleasant surprise, going into the squad hub, finding out he's got contract expiring in 12 months time, but not retiring end of season as his status. Come on, I know he's just a bit of a, I wouldn't call him a novelty, but just a squad player, a dressing room leader, a veteran. You know, he's probably never going to play for the club again, but listen, we love Ben Foster. He's sort of like part-time player, part-time goalkeeping coach, part-time YouTuber. So yeah, we're keeping Ben Foster on for another year, and I love the cycling GK, man. I've said many times before, he's got my favourite channel on YouTube right now. I love him so much. But as for new signings for QPR this season, well, with 104.4 million in the budget, plenty of cash to splash, I was thinking, where do we need to strengthen this season? Well, really, we're really strong all over the pitch. But as we know, we're a defence-minded team. We play really strong and ruthless defence. But whilst we have got a fantastic, solid back line, you can always improve. Believe me, that is a fantastic mindset to have. You can always get better. So I thought about a new centre-back for this season to come in and play alongside Fikayo Tomori on a regular basis, or Chris Metham, of course, because I'm not actually too convinced by Ben White. Ironically, he has the most potential out of the three I just named there. But Joe Gomez, formerly of Charlton, going to Liverpool, and in this save going to Borussia Dortmund, we agreed a £95 million deal with the Germans to bring him back to England, and he returns to London, because he's from London. I think he's a Lewisham boy, I think, Joe Gomez. Yeah, Joe Gomez coming back, really pleased with that. He is in for £95 million, 125 grand a week, and again, even though we've got a fantastic defence already, I love that kind of mindset, I love that kind of attitude. Even when it's so fantastic already, you can still get better, you can still improve. So Gomez comes in to improve the back line, buzzing with that signing there, really am. He is such a fantastic centre-half. The only worry is, of course, the injury-prone tag, and as we know, due to the injury frequency and severity sliders being increased in this save, that could be a slight issue, but I think we'll be okay. Gomez in, and yeah, new club record signing there. 95 million, 88 rated, 28 years old, in the prime of his career right now. You would have noticed there real briefly as I rejected Smith Grady and Ghana here from Inter Milan, because I like him a lot. There was a big bid for Jonathan David from Paris Saint-Germain. We could have sold a Canadian to Ligue 1 for like 150, 160 million, but I said no. Jonathan David, it's very hard to explain why I really like the player after just 1 year with us. I know he had a worse goal to game ratio than Nketiah a couple of years ago when Eddie won the Golden Boot before he left to Man City at the start of last season, but David, he's not like a false nine. I wouldn't call him a false nine, because obviously he scored 20 goals last season, and he is a sort of out and out striker, the lone striker. But he sort of like, he combines both being a number 9 and a number 10. Like, he brings other players into play, and he gets quite a few assists, and most importantly, the things that don't show up in his statistics, hockey assists as well. He's a really solid player to have, and I love the solid player trait as well. So I thought, you know, David is worth more than that. He's only 25 years old, 88 rated. I'm keeping the Canadian here. And we did make our second signing of the window as well, and I'll be totally honest here, these were my two main targets of the window, so to get them both, I was absolutely buzzing. Josh Da Silva comes in from Brentford as we signed the English midfielder for, I believe it was $7.5 million plus Gonzalo Villar. Villar last season, we picked up on a free transfer after he was released by Roma, but I'll be totally honest, I didn't really get on with him last season. Now, his stats are really good. He's a very solid deep line playmaker, but I just felt like, I don't know what it was about him. I just never really felt like, you know, there are certain players in FIFA where they got all the stats, but you just don't feel comfortable controlling them. That was like Villar for me. I just felt he just wasn't my sort of player, whereas Da Silva has bags of energy. He's got high medium work rate, so I'm going to train at that defensive work rate and make him a box-to-box midfielder, because I love box-to-box midfielders that run for days. High stamina, just like Villar had, to be fair. And Josh Da Silva comes in. He was my second target at the window, so to bring him in as Villar goes the other way to Brentford, yeah, I'm more than happy with that deal there, because again, I really did want him this season, so I was glad to act quickly when I saw there was interest from Benevento to sign him and bring him in alongside Joe Gomez. There was a bid for Ben White, funnily enough. I mentioned earlier, I'm not too convinced by White in this year's career mode, to be totally honest with you, despite the fact he's growing okay, but I was going to accept that bid there with Wolves. The swap deal including Johnny for White wasn't going to happen. And also, this was really funny, but Valencia put in a loan offer for Big Josh, and I was like, oh, I really love Big Josh, we all do, but he'd benefit from some loan football and first team football out of the Mestalla. And I tried to delegate the loan with the chief exec for a short-term loan, and for some reason, the chief exec went the other way, and instead of agreeing a short-term loan, agreed a 2-year loan. So I was like, oh, for goodness sake, I'll sort it out, don't worry. So I agreed a 1-year loan deal in the end with Valencia, 60-40 grand wage split. I prefer a 6-month loan deal, so we could come back in January, but maybe a full season's worth of first team football. We're doing really well there in La Liga for Valencia at the Mestalla. And well, who knows, maybe just like Charlie Kelman back in season 3, he'll get sent out there as a boy, impress so much, guide the team to a really high finish, and come back as a man. That's what I'm certainly hoping. We'll see the same sort of growth we saw with Charlie Kelman on Big Josh this time around. I guess we'll have to wait and see. The deal is about to go through. You do see it goes through in today's today's episode as well in just a moment's time. Big Josh is on his way to Valencia for a full season's worth of football. And we'll miss him, don't get me wrong, but I think it's best to let the kid go out and try and transition to become a full-blown man. What? Does that make any sense? Not really, I'm sticking with it. So, as you saw the fixtures there for the month of August, our first month's worth of football for the new season. You see Big Josh here completing his loan deal to Valencia. The first game of the season would, of course, be a repeat of the FA Cup final last year, as we would take on Brighton at Wembley, where Brighton, you would probably say, stunned the footballing well. There weren't many people that thought that Brighton would beat us in the FA Cup final last year, as they were massive underdogs for the final. But of course, after the penalty shootout victory, Graham Potter led his side to a famous FA Cup trophy. So taking them on in the Community Shield, we had our debuts for De Silva and Joe Gomez in this game. A couple of academy graduates starting as well, including Jay Potts, Cameron Wilkinson. I thought I'd try Andy at right back in this game because he can play there, and of course, you know, everyone's favourite Charles Bull on the left hand side. So taking on Potter's side here, looking for revenge. Of course, I mentioned before, the Community Shield is just a glorified friendly. It really does mean nothing to me, but it's one of those games where it's like, you know, if I lose, I'm like, oh, I don't care. But if I win, I'm like, well, you know, it's nice to start off with a trophy. And that's the exact same for this game as well. Charles Bull fires us into an early lead 12 minutes into the game here. Kelman's shot blocked, comes back to the ball, and what a finish by our number 28, who was, you know, I'll be honest here, subdued at Wembley in the FA Cup final last season. Graham Potter did a great job of keeping the ball quiet. Then, of course, he got that injury as well, but fantastic goal there as he makes it 1-0, and the R's take an early lead in the Community Shield. Brian had a great chance to get back on level terms right before half-time, and Unai Lopez almost scored a cracker from a free kick there, about 28 yards from goal, off the crossbar, and thankfully our blushes were spared heading into half-time. I thought if Brighton come back and level it again, like in the FA Cup final, we'll probably lose it on the spot kicks. With 5.5 minutes to go, still leading by a goal. Brighton had quite a lot of the ball, not too many chances, but as the ball rolled through, Jonathan David off the bench, he scored in the FA Cup final, and he scores here in the Community Shield as well. 2-0 would be the final score. I thought the celebrations were a little bit dramatic, really, for a Community Shield, but either way, I guess after the mental side of what happened in the FA Cup final last year, it was good to see us avenge our demons, get one over Brighton, and win the Community Shield to start the campaign off. Again, it's a glorified friendly. I don't really care about it too much, but it is worth pointing out it's our first Community Shield win of the save so far. So it's always nice to start off with a win, of course. And I'm such a bloody hypocrite. I'm such a hypocrite. Lose the game, I'm like, oh, I don't care. Win, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a trophy. But still, so there we go then. We win the Community Shield to start Season 6 off, and our 4 opening fixtures this season as well. My goodness gracious me. Spurs, Liverpool, Manchester City and Wolves in the Premier League. A very tough start to our first ever Premier League title defence campaign, but bring them on, baby, bring them on. To be the best, you got to beat the best. But that won't this episode of PS5 Career Mode, guys. So big thank you for watching the season open. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for those first 4 Premier League fixtures in the very next episode very soon.